Hello?
Yes, hello, Miss Lamarr. This is Janie Doe from Enterprise Books. I'm working on a book about influential female scientists and inventors. Your son Anthony said that you would be expecting my call.
Yes, Anthony mentioned that he'd set something up. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you for asking. And thank you for being willing to speak with me today.
My pleasure. I apologize that I'm not able to meet you in person. I don't go out much or receive many guests these days.
That's just fine. Anthony explained the situation to me, and I'm just glad that you were willing to speak with me.
Anytime. Now, what can I help you with today?
I am looking for stories from the women we are featuring on how they very first started their work. As I understand, the idea for your invention, the frequency hopping secret communication system, sprung up at a dinner party?
Yes, that's correct. I was at a dinner party hosted by my two dear friends, Adrian and Gaynor, in their Hollywood home, and it was during the late summer of 1940, if memory serves. That's where I first met my co-inventor, George Anthell.
And how did that meeting go? Frequency hopping seems like a rather odd conversation to just jump right into, if you don't mind me saying.
Our conversation that evening didn't start off with the frequency hopping. In fact, it wasn't even a topic mentioned that evening at all. Our chat that night centered around my bust size, if you believe that.
Really? Would you mind to elaborate on that a bit for me?
Of course. When I first met George, he had in the past few years written several articles for the magazine Esquire on the subject of endocrinology, or rather glandular analysis. The topic interested me very much because he proposed the idea of using glandular extract injections to naturally enhance the size of one's breasts. At the same time that George was publishing his articles, I was being pressured by the head of MGM Studios, Louis B. Mayer, whom I was working for, to do something about the size of my bust. George's work greatly interested me as I did not want to do any surgical work, and I thought this sounded like the best option. It was during the dinner party at our mutual friend's home that we were acquainted and able to discuss the topic. We spent all of dinner discussing this and the better part of the remaining evening as well.
So, if you spent that evening talking about the possibilities of breast enhancement via glandular injections, when did your discussion of your invention begin?
Ah, yes. Well, when I left that evening, I decided I'd like to very much continue my conversation with George, so I used my lipstick and left my phone number on his car window.
Really? I had a friend in high school ask a girl to prom that way.
Yes, it may have been a bit juvenile, but it did the trick. A week or so later, I had George over for dinner at my home in the Benedict Canyon, and we continued to talk of the natural breast enhancement. And as the evening progressed, we moved to the other topics such as the brewing war and what we thought needed to be done. This is where we got to get talking about the recent torpedo attacks, which led to talks of weapon systems and finally frequency hopping.
That is quite an interesting tale, and I am sure that my fellow writers will love it. Would you mind to explain for me, so that we have it in your own words, what your invention was supposed to do? How would it work?
Certainly, the secret communication systems, as we called it, was meant to solve the problem of enemies blocking signals from radio controlled missiles. The idea was that if you could both the transmitter and the receiver of the torpedo simultaneously jump from frequency to frequency, then someone trying to jam the signal wouldn't be able to know where it is.
And how did you plan to accomplish this?
This is where George's work came into the equation. He proposed using something very similar to his C-note system that he used for his quick learning player pianos in his music. We decided that if you placed individual rolls of slotted paper, like the ones used on the player pianos, at each end of the transmission, then these paper rolls would be our means of dictating the code used to hop the radio frequencies. Just the player piano holds the melody of different notes. Our system would hold and change radio frequencies to make an unbreakable code. This would prevent the signals controlling the torpedoes from becoming detected, deciphered, or jammed by enemy torpedoes.
That's just ingenious.
Yes, it was, if only those useless men in the Navy would have realized it.
They eventually realized what they had, though, right?
Oh, yes, they did. Years after the war was over and our patent had run out, we didn't even get so much as a thank you for what we did. I could never understand why they didn't get any kind of acknowledgement, especially since it's being used all over the world now.
That seems acutely unfair. But as I understand it, you have finally received some recognition here recently, haven't you?
Yes, and it's about time, too. George and I were awarded the Electronic Frontier Foundation's Pioneer Award. Anthony went and accepted it for me.
That's wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you. People always seem to think that because I had a pretty face, that made me stupid. I had to work twice as hard as anyone else to convince people that I had something resembling a brain. And it finally paid off. I just hope that I'm equally well remembered for my contribution to science as I am for my once pretty face.
I'm sure you will be, Miss Lamarr. I can promise you, my team and I are doing all we can to aid you in that hope.
I appreciate that, Miss Doe.
It is simply what you deserve, ma'am. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to speak with me. My team and I greatly appreciate it.
It's been my pleasure. Take care, Miss Doe.
Take care, Miss Lamarr.